In this video, I'll show you my process for turning a black and white acrylic painting into a color image by glazing it digitally using Corel Painter. That's coming up next. Thanks for joining me. I'm Aaron Rutten, and if you want to learn more about digital art, click that subscribe button. As you can see here, I'm starting with an acrylic painting that I created on a panel, and I just used heavy body acrylic paint to improvise a landscape. I've gone ahead and taken a good quality photograph of the image. I've tried to get the lighting pretty even, but it's a little bit dark on the right side, but that's okay because we're going to correct a few things in Photoshop and we can fix that. So I have the image loaded in Photoshop here. I'm going to go ahead and just zoom in to 100%. You'll want to make sure that your image isn't super blurry and you'll want to look for mistakes. For example, I notice over on the left side there is a yellow dot. I must have splashed some paint on that or dripped something on it. I'll just go to the spot healing brush tool and I'll just paint over that area using a brush that's about the size of the dot that I want to remove. And there we go, it disappears. Now I'm going to go to the filter menu and I'm going to go to sharpen and then smart sharpen. Now I'll go ahead and just pan over so I can see some of my image here. And I just want to sharpen this up just a bit so we can really see that texture when we're working. I'll go ahead and just change it to lens blur here and we can use the default setting and we'll click on OK. Now where it says remove, you can play with some of these options here to see which works better for you. If it's a handheld shot, you may want to use motion blur or lens blur. I'm going to go ahead and just choose Gaussian blur. Now I'm going to go ahead and save a copy of my image by going to Save As. I'll just save this as a Photoshop PSD. Now I'm going to zoom out to where I can see the whole canvas, and I'll go to Edit Perspective Warp. I'll drag from the top left corner down to the bottom right corner and make sure it gets right on the corner there. And then go to the top right guide and move it up to the top right corner, and to the bottom left guide and move that to the bottom left of the canvas, and make sure that it lines up right along the edges there. Then we'll go ahead and click on Warp. And then if we click on this button here, we'll correct both the horizontal and the vertical distortion. We'll click on the check to commit. And now we've corrected the perspective. Now we can go ahead and crop off that background by going to the crop tool. I'm going to crop in from the edge of the canvas just a little bit because the edge is a little bit irregular on this panel. Then I'll just adjust the edges of that crop just to get it perfect. And I'll go ahead and click on the check to commit. And there we go. We've cropped off that extra space outside of our canvas. Now there's a little bit of inconsistency between the gray values. Some are warmer and some are cooler. So I'll add an adjustment layer of black and white. I'll just click on the auto button and that'll make sure that all of the values here are completely neutral and there's no warm or cool tone. I'm going to go ahead and merge that layer down so that we have just a single layer now. And then I'm going to add another adjustment layer of levels. And I'll just go ahead and click auto. And we can play with the levels here if we want to balance out the light and dark. You'll want to keep in mind that if you're glazing this, you're going to be making it darker by glazing it, so you may want it to be just a little bit brighter than it normally would be. You can fine-tune this by moving these little triangles down at the bottom of the histogram. The gray triangle represents the midpoints, the dark triangle represents the darks, and the light triangle represents the lights. I recommend checking out some of my tutorials about how to correct lighting if you want a better idea of how to do this. Now there's only so much that levels can do because there's a shadow on the right side and a highlight on the left. So I'll need to go ahead and just duplicate my layer, and I'll go ahead and just hide levels in the meantime. I'll set that duplicate layer to screen for the blend mode, and then I'll go ahead and add a mask to that layer. With that mask selected, I'll go ahead and select the gradient tool. I'll choose a linear gradient, and I want to make sure that I'm painting with black, going to white or to transparency. Now I'll drag that gradient starting from the left and go over to the right, horizontally, and what that's going to do is that's going to lighten just the right side of the canvas. Now I can play with the opacity of that layer, and I can try to find a nice balance. If I do it before and after, you can see what that's doing. It's eliminating a little bit of that shadow over on the right side of the canvas. But I will say it's preferable just to get even lighting in the first place. I was just a little sloppy here. So I'm going to turn levels back on. I might reduce the opacity of levels a little bit. I might reduce the opacity of that screen layer a little bit more and just really try to fine-tune it and get it looking pretty balanced. I'm going to go ahead and go to Save As to save another copy of my artwork. Now I'm going to go ahead and just flatten this image. I'm going to click on the top right here and choose Flatten Image. Then I'm going to go to Save As again, and I'm going to save another copy. That way I have a copy with and without the layers, just in case I need to go back. Now I'm going to open this in Corel Painter, or you could use really any art application of your choice. I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to set that to multiply, and that's really the trick to getting that nice tinting or glazing effect. I'm going to choose one of my custom brushes called Digital Airbrush G2. This is a brush that can use the glazing technology. I'm going to go ahead and just start with kind of a small brush here, and I'm going to use a light sky blue color just to go ahead and just glaze right over the sky area here. That's going to turn my monochromatic black and white sky into a nice color sky with all kinds of blue values. Now, if I overglaze, it's okay because this glaze is going to be on a separate layer. So I can remove just the glaze without harming anything underneath. I can change the color of the glaze. I can really have a lot of control over the color in this artwork. So whether you're purely a digital painter or a traditional painter, this could be a great way to glaze your artwork first and then see how it'll look with some different color combinations, and then actually use traditional glaze to continue on and glaze your grayscale painting. If you're a digital painter, then this might just be a fun way to kind of mix media together, or you might use this for your black and white digital paintings. I'm going to select a more indigo blue now and make it just a little bit darker, and I'm going to put in some of that starting at the top of the canvas and then kind of fading it down using lighter pen pressure as I get near the bottom to make sure that it's a lot thicker and more opaque at the top, and it fades down into that nice, more cyan blue. I'm going to go to Save As and save a copy of my work. Then I'm going to add a layer mask to that glaze layer. I'm going to select black, and then I'm going to select Messy Dab for my brush. And then I'm going to paint, and what that's going to do is that's essentially going to erase the glaze. Now, because it's a mask, it's only going to erase temporarily, so if I chose the opposite color, white, and painted in that mask, I would be able to bring that glaze back without having to repaint it. So you could think of this as just kind of concealing some areas of that glaze temporarily. So what I'm doing here is I'm going over those areas where it should be quite a bit lighter and just bringing in some lighter values and some white values to help those clouds stand out. Because glazing is going to make everything a bit darker, you will need to either erase to bring back in some of the light values, or you might need to use some lighter opaque paint on top of your glaze to do that. Now some of those edges are too sharp, so I'm going to select my Diffuse Blur blender. Before I can blend, I'll need to apply that layer mask by right-clicking on the layer mask icon and choosing Apply Layer Mask. Then I can go ahead and just blend right along the edges just to soften those up a bit so the clouds look softer and more distant. When we applied that layer mask, we permanently erased the paint in those areas, so now we're just blending the edges of that. I'm going to go back to that digital airbrush G2, and I'm just going to paint with white just to kind of brighten the clouds where I feel they were a bit too dark. I'm going to switch to a pale light yellow color like this, and I'll go ahead and paint down near the horizon just to brighten that up a bit and add a little bit of yellow value to it. I could even add a tiny bit of that to the clouds, just to give it a tiny bit of a yellow cast. I'll add that sky color, but just a little bit muted to the shadow side of the mountain. Just be very careful not to paint over my trees, because if we blend up too many layers of glazes on top of each other, they'll get too dark where they intersect. Let's add a few little spots here and some of the shadows over on the highlight side of the mountain as well. And then there's a few little mountains peeking up in the distance there. I'll add some blue to their shadow sides as well. Next, I'll create a new layer, and this time I'm going to set the composite method to overlay, and overlay is going to blend in a different way than multiply does. Depending on the color you select, it's going to tint the underlying layers, but it might also brighten them. So this tends to work better when you have yellows and bright colors that you really want to pop out. Now obviously you don't have this blend mode with traditional media, but this would be the equivalent of using a semi-translucent paint that's a little bit brighter. Now the sky's looking a little too dark and a little too gray and muddy, so we can select a light blue color like this, and we can paint over some of those muddy areas, just to retain a little bit of the value, but brighten them up just a bit. I'll do a little bit of that on the shadow side of the mountain as well. That helps it look more distant. I'll go ahead and continue adding layers of glaze using those same composite methods and brushes that I showed you. I'll add a little bit of green for the trees, some blue in the snow, maybe a little bit of brown here and there in some of the darker values on the snow. I'll use a really big brush to put in a little bit of salmon color over by the main light source over on the left. Now I'll just take a minute to pause and look at this and just make sure that it's going in the direction that I want it to. I think it is. So I'll go ahead and zoom out quite a bit now. Now I want to go ahead and just balance out all of these different blends of color by moving the opacity slider for each of these layers, because some layers need to be a little bit more faint, some need to be a little more opaque, and you really just find that balance to see what works for you. But again, I'm putting all of these different layers of paint on their own separate layer, and that's going to give me a lot of control over these different blends of paint. The trick with glazing is to start out light and just build up the opacity slowly using layers and layers of paint. And so it's really great that when you're working digitally, you can play with the layer opacity and make it more or less opaque. Now I'm going to create a layer on top of everything that's set to overlay, and I'm going to fill that with a solid color. And I can experiment with different colors here, and that'll kind of give me an overall color filter or an overall tint to everything on the canvas. I can create a second layer and do the same thing, but with a different color. And now if I add layer masks to those layers and I paint with black using the airbrush, then I can kind of blend some of that stuff out so that it's more warm and bright over on the left side where the light source is, and it's cooler over on the right side toward the bottom right corner where there would be more shadows. Next, I'll select all of those layers of glaze and I will group them together. I'll go ahead and save to save my progress here. And then we can do a before and after by clicking on the eyeball to see exactly what we get when we glaze this painting. It's a really wonderful result. Now if I look at it smaller, it feels like the foreground is a little bit too light, so I'm going to go ahead and add a layer of glaze down there at the bottom. I might try out some different composite methods like hard light to see what I get. And we'll have the light kind of eat into some of those shadows. I'll just use the digital airbrush too to paint on that layer with white. Now I could also use the eraser or a mask for this. It's really all the same, but I'm just showing you some different ways to accomplish the same thing. Basically, we want to try to make these little lumps in the snow look like they're sticking up out of the snow and catching a little bit of light. I'm going to go ahead and play with the layer opacity to try to find a better blend. Next, I'm going to create a new layer and set it to multiply. I'm going to add some textured glaze using the Dab Texture airbrush. This uses your dab stencil to create a stencil on the brush, which creates texture. And I'll just add some blues and browns in here over my snow area. And then I can play with the layer opacity to blend that in. I want it to be a little bit subtle. And I can soften it a little bit using diffuse blur as well, just to blend out anything that's a bit too harsh. Do it before and after to see what effect that's having. I might play with the opacity just a bit more. I think that's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and save. Let's try out another brush, and that is the Dab Chalk Eraser. That's found in the rendering palette. And I can use that to essentially erase using the dab stencil to get texture. That's creating all these fine little icy areas, which creates a lot of visual interest. I'll just balance out a couple more of the layers here, and with that, we have a monochromatic acrylic painting that we glazed digitally using Corel Painter. If you enjoyed this video, take a quick second to click the like button, and make sure to check out some of the other digital art tutorials on my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.